Dr. Iyad Qunaybi is one of the most renowned du'at in the Arab world. He recently made a critical video on Afghanistan and the end of the occupation. I want to share a translation of his video so that English speakers can benefit as well. With the withdrawal of foreign forces from Afghanistan and the rising fear of an Islamic government coming to power, international institutions and media claim to worry about women and human rights in Afghanistan. Today, we'll review with you examples of women's rights and human rights that Afghans enjoyed under the 20 years of occupation. Let's see how fair, honest, and caring the international institutions and global media were in those past 20 years. Recently, the United Nations, the sponsor of gay rights, issued a historic reaction to the end of the occupation. I quote, "At this critical moment, the people of Afghanistan look to the Human Rights Council to defend and protect their rights. The need to prevent the commission of human rights abuses of even greater magnitude and scope make this an essential meeting." The article published by the United Nations states, Afghanistan faces a cultural disaster following the fall of Kabul to Taliban forces. A UN official also urged countries to provide immediate assistance to human rights defenders, including those working on women's and cultural rights, as well as artists trying to flee the country. The American newspaper Time titled an article, "What Afghanistan's Women Stand to Lose." The French newspaper France 24 inquires about the fate of women after the return of Taliban to power. DW writes, "The Taliban have vowed to take a more moderate stance that women's rights will be honored, but both the UN and Germany have expressed skepticism." Al Arabiya titled an article, "Women's Fears from the Taliban Rule." Similarly, in Muslim countries, we have those who are seemingly concerned with women and human rights. For example, there is the film producer of the documentary In 7 Years, Mohammed Aql, who is supposedly so understanding of the apostasy of Muslim youth. This man expressed his deep aversion to the Taliban statement that they would allow women to go to school and work as long as they abide by the hijab. He considers this policy to be despotic, oppressive, and authoritarian. The situation, my brothers, is dangerous, and the world is afraid for the rights of women and human beings in Afghanistan. But I bring you good news today. There is a glimmer of hope, as the U.S. President Joe Biden said in his speech,
"We'll continue to speak out for the basic rights of the Afghan people, of women and girls, just as we speak out all over the world."
So cheer up, everyone. America will not abandon you, Afghanistan. Neither will the United Nations, who stated that Afghan women's rights are a red line. Let's now consider examples of the amazing human rights that the whole world fears will be lost with the end of the Western occupation. Everything I will mention is documented from Western sources. And before I begin, let me make this disclaimer. A lot of the following is disturbing and heartbreaking, but bear with me, because together we are going to achieve three very important goals, inshallah. One, building Muslim awareness. This episode is perhaps one of the best in revealing to us the truth about the international media and organizations who keep their eyes on us when it comes to humanity and human rights and women's rights. Two, documenting this historical period of the 20-year occupation. There is now a systematic effort to erase the traces of our contemporary history from the internet. Many clips and images have been deleted so that when you come to tell your son, who is smitten by the West, that these people did so and so to the Muslims, he'll ask you, where's the evidence? You can go show him this very video. So upload it to your devices and show it to your children and let them pass it on to their children. We have made a great effort to collect this scattered information for you. Three, taking the opportunity to invite the world to Islam. The Wall Street Journal published an article a few days ago in the wake of the end of the occupation titled, "The Unconquerable Islamic World." Everyone on earth is now looking at how the great world powers were defeated at the hands of this simple Muslim country. They're baffled, trying to figure out the secret to Muslim strength and steadfastness, to figure out how Islam is the source of victory. Documenting what happened helps enlighten people about the true enemies of humanity, those who hide the facts from their people and turn them away from the religion of Allah. So these are our 3 goals. Try to endure what you'll hear and see in this video, and remember that your Afghan brothers and sisters have endured much, much more for the past 20 years. Also, before we start, I'll use the word occupation to indicate the countries that occupied Afghanistan for 20 years. We don't care to pinpoint a particular country, but we only care that this was an occupation of a Muslim country by those who disbelieve in Islam. As we know from the Quran, when Allah says, "We have not sent you, O Muhammad, except as a mercy to the worlds." This is our message that we carry to all the peoples of the world, and our main objection is against those who block the path to Allah and drive their people to unjust wars for their personal profit. Also, dear viewers, when we use words like client government and client army, we mean the Afghan mercenaries from whom the occupation formed a puppet government and puppet army. We will focus on 4 pivotal points: children's rights, women's rights, prisoner rights, and human rights in general.
بأهل البلد يا الله بأهل البلد يا الله